What's going on, everybody? Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, it's Wildstar's final day. It is the 28th of November. It's about 3:49 in the morning for me, which is when Carbine is having their farewell party for Wildstar players, because in a couple of hours, I think 6 a.m. my time, servers are coming down. And in case you missed the news, I'm sure you know by now, Wildstar is shutting down. Today's the final day. And everybody's here in game. We're all just hanging around. The devs are with us. There's lots of Carbine devs around. Some crazy stuff happening in the background. It's an oversized, Orin just dancing in the middle of the celebration place. Now there is a designated area for this, and I'm sure by the time you watch this, it'll be over. But Carbine decided that we're all going to celebrate in Whitevale, in the Wigwally village, which is like the worst place to have a celebration because of these the bunny things that make just ridiculous noises that I had to turn off. But I can see the charm, I can see the allure of partying here. So it is a neutral zone, which means both the Dominion and the Exile can be on the same map, and usually in the past it's PvP if you're in a PvP server. But yeah, we're all together here, lots of exiles as you can see, and this is just the town square where all the exiles are just chilling. But the real party is happening up there, where the FPS, my FPS at least, will just drop to like 15. So yeah, we got a good crowd, all here to pay respects and say goodbye to a game that they love. And you know, throughout the day, I've been logging in, talking to various different people on Nexus chat, and just reading chat sentiment and all that stuff. It's been talked about so much, you know, Wildstar, why is it shutting down, why did it come to this, how did it get to this point. There's so many videos and posts and controversial threads on Reddit and in the forums about everything that's happened. But to reiterate, when the news broke that Carbine was going to go, and so did Wildstar, like I said, at least for me, because this is gonna be the first MMORPG where I actually bought into as a founder. I paid full price deluxe edition and got into the CBT open beta and played this in 2014 at launch for an extended period. I spent a lot of money in this game in the first year it launched. And this is going to be one of the first MMORPGs that I've invested in that is going to be shut down. So compared to the other ones that I've covered in the past, stuff like Marvel Heroes, and what's the other one that shut down? MXM, another NCSoft game that I play. I don't really have that sort of attachment to it, whereas Wildstar I do, because I've invested in it. So I'm kind of sad that it's going. I've spent a lot of time on my alts today, just taking screenshots of my achievements and taking videos of my favorite maps and vistas and things like that. But back to what I was saying, why did it shut down? Like I said, I think everybody knew that this was going to happen at least 6 months prior, leading up to the announcement. It wasn't so much of a shock that this was coming. It was more of a shock of the timing more than anything. They announced it in September, and they only gave us 2 months to sort of emotionally prepare to saying goodbye. And to a lot of players that Wildstar is their main MMO, that's a little harder to take, because you spend more than most of us in terms of preparing your characters. If this is your daily driver, then you have rated on your characters and you've gotten the best gear and you've made a lot of new friends and poured your heart and soul into things like the housing system and all that stuff, and it's now going away. So yeah, it really comes down to who you believe in. Who's to blame here? Is it NCSoft? Is it Carbine Studios? I think there's no point in sort of debating that now. It's done, the game is going. But for argument's sake, because I've seen a lot of people throwing NCSoft under the bus, throwing Carbine Studios under the bus. For me, having did a lot of research and speaking to sort of both sides of the coin here, it's both. Honestly, it's both. And I think it's just fair to leave it at that and celebrate what Wildstar has given the MMORPG community, no matter if you liked the game, didn't like it when you tried it, what Wildstar has sort of introduced and offered players in terms of another MMO out there to play, I think is great. Everything from its combat system, which is, again, will polarize people. A lot of people don't like the tally grab system. I actually do, because it was a, oh my goodness, what are we looking at? What is all these giant... Is that a cake? That seems like this looks like a cupcake. Oh, I get it. It's Wildstar. If you've played Wildstar in the past, you know when you level up, like, oh shit, you level up, congrats, cupcake. You know, that guy in the background, that epic sound guy that just gives you... yeah, so cupcakes are a thing. People call each other cupcakes, the game calls you a cupcake. And, you know, when I was covering Wildstar, I used to have these end screen videos where I'd go, yeah, subscribe, cupcake, and people are like, why are you calling people a cupcake? This is it. This is the reason why Wildstar loves making use of cupcakes. It's just completely blocking my view here. Yeah, my FPS is going. I need to get out and find another hill to just go and perch on. I can get a better view of anything and everybody. Yeah, we'll chill here for a sec. But yeah, things that I kind of like Wildstar for the combat system, which in turn, I mean, for PvE, I can sort of understand, you know, once in a while where people be like, this is getting either repetitive or it's just not for me, doesn't work. Fair enough. Combat systems are really personal. Some games make it to a point where it is, I think, for everybody hard to get into because it's more mechanical in the sense that you put more, your input is more, whereas other games, older targeting games, there's not a lot of input. You're allowed to be sort of like casual and lazy with it, right? You can just sit back and hit 1, 2, 3 and things like that. Oh my god, what just happened here? Why am I standing under the... What the hell? Is that a Carmine Dev? I can't even tell. But it seems nowhere is safe, guys. I'm just gonna go in and hang up on this rooftop here and just chill for a bit. Yeah, there's a lot more people now than there was like an hour ago. But yeah, 3 minutes until the official sign-off event starts. 4 a.m. my time. I think it's 4 p.m. PSD. But yeah, combat system. I liked it, and the point I was getting to was that it made PvP for me at least more fun. Like the one mode that I think I've told you guys many times that I really enjoyed with Wildstar is the Letalia Temple. Letalia Temple is just really fast and frantic, and because of the telegraph system and the class that I play, it made it more enjoyable for me. It's way different to what I was PvPing back then. You know, Lord of the Rings, online, open world, Zergfest in the Edmores, which is also another thing I love. It just is a different change of pace, a different style, and I like having that sort of options to bounce back and forth with if I need to diversify what I want to do with my PvP. I think the other thing that we can all agree on, especially those of us that do like the art style, is that this whole cartoon design of not just the world, but the landscape, the environment. You know, people will call this childish and whatever, you know, but there's a sort of an attraction or an appeal for games like this. I mean, fuck, just look at Fortnite, right? People argue it's a game for kids. Yeah, probably most of the players playing are kids because it's free to play, but trust me, you know, it's a universal sort of art style that is easy to get into if you can sort of look past aesthetics to play your games. A lot of people can't, and I get that, I understand that. And Wildstar isn't trying to hide that behind whatever. It knows what it is with its whole cartoon design architecture, not just the world, but the characters, even the wildlife. They all have, like, the Baradhor, which is the game's version of sheep, I believe. And, that was kind of fun, finding that out the first time. You know, you kill a bunch of Baradhors or whatever, you get an achievement. But the art style I again kind of like it because he was different from the sort of realistic MMOs that I play, and I'd like coming to a different game and just having like taking a break from one game and just jumping into a game that offers something visually different, thematically different, systematically different too, with the combat and everything. And Wildstar was that game for a while, I gotta admit. There were many things about Wildstar that I enjoyed. I think the one that I'll miss is definitely the housing system, and I've showed that off in a previous video. I've showed that off on stream already. So, and just type in Wildstar housing, you can see a ton of other players that have made their housing tour videos and put on YouTube, and they're amazing, amazing. The amount of stuff that you can play with in terms of houses, where you can set different biomes, which simply means what is the sort of like a backdrop environment of your house going to look like. People have created like hoverboard parks, which are great because like hoverboards are a type of mount that Wildstar has, like what I'm on right now. So you can just hover around the map, and with the housing system, you can effortlessly put like tracks down, right, like a racetrack and things like that, and players can come in there. You can make your own like hoverboard racing track, which is actually really fun. I've been on one of those houses that does that. There's jumping theme parks, there's like spooky haunted mansions and all kinds of good stuff. The creativity levels with Wildstar's housing system is phenomenal. And I think that's what I will miss as well, just being able to have a place where, yeah, you can go all out with whatever you feel creative with. For me personally, I'm not much of a decoration guy. I love seeing other people's work, but I hate trying to, spend hours on a house myself. There is a... Oops. Forgot to install my phone here. Yes, there is more and more people coming in with the giant bodies. I'm pretty sure those are devs. So while we wait for the celebrations to start, and I can't wait to see what that will be, everybody that's sort of watching or have watched this, what will you miss the most about Wildstar? What systems and what does Wildstar mean to you, you're a Wildstar player? What did it offer the MMORPG landscape with its game systems and mechanics that, you wish would stay and more MMOs would adapt? Let me know in the comment section below. Well, if you're gonna be a part of the last day activities, then you may as well get dressed for it, right? So, just a quick, I don't know, tour of what my outfit is. Yes, I'm sort of like a semi-naked man in all these, Alden, tech outfit. This is, I believe, the Omni Threads, which is what you get for pre-ordering the deluxe edition of the game, and it comes with the overboard as well. So all these are the Omni stuff. And the title is Sentinel of a Nexus, which also comes from pre-ordering the game, so I put that on. I mean, if you're gonna go out, you may as well go out in style. Even though, once the game announced they were shutting down, it gave everybody a signature status, which you can see at the bottom of the screen here, which is a subscription. So if you wanted to play to your heart's content before the game shut down, then you would be playing as sort of like a optional subscription member, which gave you bonus XP. And one of the things about having a signature like this is that every time you kill things, you get a ton of Omni bits, and Omni bits are currency that you can spend in the in-game cash store. So I've got 738 Omni bits, and I can buy, cosmetics right now. I think everything is discounted. So there's that. For those that have been playing until the end, you sort of got rewarded for something. I don't know. But anyway, while we wait for whatever the final gambit, the final hurrah will be, whether the devs will kill everybody in this village, or there's going to be an all-out war because Dominions and Exiles and on the same map, let alone in the same village, is a bad idea. We'll talk some more about Wildstar. I suppose just share some thoughts while we wait for things to happen here. In terms of the negatives, where Wildstar could have done better, again, very highly documented, you know? Things like Carbine being really slow with development updates, especially for more casual content. And when I say casual, I mean things like the story, more map packs, more expansion packs, you know, the updates that a normal MMORPG cycle would have. And the problem was, I think, again, this was a very good point by everybody made since the game announced it was shutting down. When Wildstar was first announced, and in probably the 6 months leading up to its launch, they were really catering for the hardcore crowd when it comes to showing off all these Uber raids that were difficult. And once the game launched, you saw that it took a lot to get to that stage where guilds could really raid and take on the hardest challenges. Now, it was rewarding when you got there, not just individually, but as a group, as a guild. Either in your guild or through your community, which Wildstar has. They have a sort of like a sub-guild called communities where people can just hang out together, even though you guys are in different guilds. So it was rewarding when you got to that stage, but the prerequisites and everything, it took a long time to get there. And there's been a shift. There's definitely been a shift over the last 10 years when it comes to MMOs needing to cater to the casual player. A lot of people, some people may, cringe at hearing that, but I think that's the truth. You know, I've thought about this, I've read about this, I've discussed this with a lot of people. Where the majority of MMORPG players are at now, today, those of us that have maybe played MMOs for about 10 years or the previous generation, when we come from games like early World of Warcraft, games pre-2010 from the last decade, I think we were all starting out, and then we grew up. So not only, I think the point I'm trying to make here is that we don't want our MMORPGs to feel like second jobs, because, most of us, the MMO community, we're either working and we're paying for our MMOs, and we already have a day job to worry about. But having to come back home and work again for your MMORPG in terms of the long-ass prerequisites just to get to the fun part of the game, I think is a big turnoff. And I'm not saying that, MMORPG players hate putting in a shift. I think we can all pull our fair share of grinds here and then, especially if the rewards are worth it and if the journey is worth going on. But Wildstar really, the carrot and the stick for Wildstar was just a hardcore rating, and for casual players there wasn't much to look forward to once you've hit the level 50. And the end game was pretty much, okay, you've got level 50 dailies now in these faction neutral zones, and other than that you have PvP, and you could try and get into the raids if you wanted to. And that was it. That was it for quite some time. And depending on which report you believe, if you believe the Kotaku, oh no, did I got turned into a cupcake. Yeah. Yay. Like I was saying, depending on which report you believe, if you read the Kotaku article, where a former Carbine dev talked about how, Carbine poorly managed everything leading up to the game's launch. They didn't have a contingency plan. Their content pipeline was non-existent. So when they launched the game, they really didn't have, what's happening in 3 months, what's happening in 6 months, what's happening in a year from now in terms of content. They didn't really have that. I think another poor point in planning for them was banking on hardcore raiding guilds from World of Warcraft that actually came over and did all the open beta, closed beta testing for the raids. They were involved in the alpha as well. The raids were catered for them, because there was a consensus that there are many other guilds out there like them. And I'm not disputing that, maybe there is, but you just don't put all your eggs in that one basket. And when you make an MMO, it really has to be all-rounded. And you look at the market today, for MMORPGs, and if you're not a well-rounded MMO, your player base is going to suffer. Your renown or your reputation will be a niche. Fortunately, that's, you know, as much as World of Warcraft used to be this great theme park, blah blah blah, whatever, you know, people point out the raids, people point out the PvP. It's an all-rounded MMO, regardless of who you are or what sort of MMO player you are in the spectrum. You play a World of Warcraft, you pay your $15 a month, there's always going to be something for you to do, and content in that area of what you like to do is always going to be refreshed and added upon. That's what studios that have a stable revenue and have a plan can do. Same goes for, I'd say, the Elder Scrolls Online. Pretty well rounded. If you want PvP, you've got PvP. You want to run dungeons, you've got dungeons. You want to do hardcore stuff, you have all the, you know, difficult trials and the RP community and, you know, just PvE content. Solarverse, Elder Scrolls offers everything. And now housing too, once they added housing last year. Same goes for most of the other AAA MMOs out there, really. And I think Wildstar, because of the year they launched in 2014, a lot is expected of a modern day MMORPG. And yeah, Wildstar is, you know, money went into Wildstar. As far as polish is concerned, it has the polish you would expect of a large studio MMO. And of course, it launched with bugs. Every MMO launches with bugs. If you use that as an excuse to say, yeah, I quit playing Wildstar because of the bugs, then I'm sorry, you have to grow up a lot, because MMORPGs always launch with bugs, and bugs take months to fix, sometimes years to fix. Sometimes the entire game can feel like a bug. Case in point, the Elder Scrolls Online. How many years did it take them to turn the game around? Look where they are today. More than 10 million registered players for a buy-to-play game, which means money, which means, you know, great for the longevity of the game. With Wildstar, yeah, unfortunate. And I guess that's one of my biggest regrets too, you know, that the Wildstar story won't get a chance to sort of evolve down the line, because it started off really interesting. You got both the Exile and Dominion coming to Nexus, which is the world, and trying to inhabit it. And thing is, the previous inhabitants were the Elden, and their technologies all over the planet, and we the player are slowly uncovering what they left behind, why they left it behind, and where did they go. And then you've got these beings, Drusera, who you'll be, you know, working with to try and uncover a lot of these mysteries. It was a really interesting story for me. And I've said this many times, I think MMORPG stories are important for me, because not only do I want to buy into the game's systems, from the PvE to the PvP, but, you know, if the story of the game is good, and I am a storyteller by nature, so storytelling attracts storyteller and vice versa, then I'm more than likely to buy into the game world and invest and immerse myself in it, because I like the narrative. And that's the sort of player that I am. Not everybody's like that. So I found Wildstar's story to be... Oh my goodness, what was that? Yeah, I found Wildstar's story to be very interesting for me, at least, because first of all, I do like fantasy. I'm more of an old school fantasy. I love orcs, elves, you know, that kind of thing. So Wildstar was a bit different for me, in the sense that space, aliens, different planets, colors, lots of colors. And for me to get into it, not only had some of these systems had to tick some of my boxes, but the story had to be good, and I liked that story, which is a rare thing for me. I just wish that it was given a chance to sort of continue. And I've seen people, you know, suggesting to the writers of the story maybe to create spin-offs and make comic strips or something, you know. It doesn't have to relate back to NCSoft. Sure, once Wildstar shut down in a couple of hours now, NCSoft will take all the code and everything and just chuck it in a vault, never to be seen again. But, you know, people make fanfic all the time, so I don't see why the storytelling, the story devs, if they wanted to, and they have no reason to, because they're not getting paid for this, they could just create a spin-off. then again, you put it on Kickstarter, and I'm sure a lot of players that love Wildstar would happily back it. Because the themes, the lore, we would love to see this go on, I think. Another point about Wildstar, once it shuts down, is that there's been some players that have been working on a private server. Private servers are always going to be a tricky thing to navigate around because of the legality of it. You know, NCSoft obviously holds the IP. I would like to see it happen. I remember making the video about Wildstar closing down, and a couple of people saying that they may have something that would work, and if there was a private server, then details were going to be emerging on this website called artium.io. Now, I'm not familiar with all this stuff because I myself don't dabble in the realm of private servers. Most of the MMOs that I play are alive and well. That's such a dick thing to say, but that, you know, I haven't really had the need to go into private servers, even though that's not all they're for, you know, being a space for dead games to live again. World of Warcraft has a ton of private servers, even though the retail game is alive and well. So we'll see. Private servers, I would definitely play Wildstar again, not because of, you know, the hope that it would be a better game. No chance. I think players without development funds, there's not a whole lot we can do. But I would just like to level in Wildstar again. You know, maybe 2-3 years down the line, I may miss this world somewhat, and the only opportunity I have without the servers is to watch my old Twitch streams. I was doing streams of Wildstar, chill streams on Fridays and things like that, and I do have a couple saved, so that's my only escape back to Wildstar. I keep seeing this huge thing pop up, but I can't really tell what it is. There it is. Oh, it's just decrepit skeleton hands popping out of the ground. So yeah, in a way bittersweet because this is it's late here. It's 4+ now in the morning, and this is, like I said, the first MMO that I invested in that is going to be shutting down. Won't feel it tonight, obviously. You won't feel it. At least for me, because unlike majority of the other players that you see on screen, I've been away covering other MMOs, reviewing MMOs is what I do on my channel, so you know, I won't feel the loss right away, but down the line, you know, I look at my Steam library, and then I'll definitely feel it, like, oh shit, that's gone. That was a great game. So let's move on some more, guys. Let's talk about Wildstar. I mean, it is a celebration. It's the final day. Let's not just be all down about it, you know. Celebrate Wildstar. Talk about, you know, your favorite moments. So I guess we'll go with that. What was your favorite moment if you were watching this and you missed the celebrations and you couldn't catch a stream or whatever, or you're watching this after? You know, what's your favorite Wildstar moment? Oh, hang on, we got a round broadcast here. Hello, citizens of Nexus. Please join us in game at the Wigwally Village celebration area for a proper send-off and goodbye. Be mindful, however, that due to popularity, multiple map instances have begun to spin up and comment player numbers. See the official forums on how to reach the event area if required. So yeah, there's going to be multiple instances of maps, obviously, because if they don't have that, then the server's going to crash. So who knows, some other devs or people from the Carbine team would go to the other layers. Anyway, back to favorite Wildstar moments. I'll go. First one has to be, I suppose, the level up guy. Experiencing or hearing the level up guy for the first time. And for those that don't play Wildstar, I'll put a quick clip here to show you guys what it sounds like and what that's all about.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right on. You're getting to be a real badass. Not bad on the eyes either.
Now that you've seen it, then yeah, I kind of like that. It's because it's so out there. It's, you know, in other games when you level up, it's just a ding or just an animation on screen to show that, oh, you've leveled up. And Wildstar, it's a very visual and audible thing that is actually makes me look forward sometimes to leveling up, because I want to hear what the guy says next. And whoever they paid to do that, I mean, he must have had maybe 30 or 40 different variations of the level up message, which made each one pretty fun. Second favorite moment, winning my first Walatiki Temple match. Walatiki Temple is one of the earliest PvP modes that you could do, and it was all about two teams going out and capturing the neutral masks, the moody masks, in the middle of the map, taking one and bringing that back. Ouch, my ears. And taking that back to the team's base. And then players could steal masks from each other's base back and forth. It was a really fun tug of war. I enjoyed that a lot. And my first tune, my main tune here, is a level 50 Spellslinger. And it was a real rewarding feeling once I got the right build with all my amps and everything. And I went into the match and won it for the first time. I enjoyed it. And ever since then, I got hooked on Walatiki Temple. It was the only PvP mode that I sort of, you know, when I logged in, I feel like PvPing. What do I want to do? Walatiki Temple, let's do that. And during launch, you know, that would pop all the time. So it wasn't an issue trying to find matches. When I came back for free to play, you know, it could take me like an hour or almost an hour and a half to find a match. So unfortunately, didn't get to run it recently, but during launch, you know, I absolutely loved that and would do that as many times as I could. So while we spend more time here, like I said, feel free to share your favorite Wildstar moments in the comments below. Go. Yeah, I gotta give it to Carbine, you know, they've handled the entire shutdown as well as they could. I've seen studios, the moment they announce shutdown, everybody just wants to get the fuck out and, you know, I'm done. I'll wash my hands, I'll burn some bridges. I couldn't care less about the state of the game and how we were leaving it. Not Carbine, though. Ever since they announced that the game was shutting down, they've turned on events. Somebody's been keeping the game up throughout the entire duration. Somebody was working on the social media posts. They were always interacting with players on Twitter. They were always a presence on the forums. And that's honestly good to see from Carbine's part. I mean, it's just too bad that the game is going, but the core devs that remained, even though the rest of the studio was disintegrating, to stay and just be there for the community, even though the game is on borrowed time. That sort of attitude has been nothing short of superb, and it's an example for all other games to look at, really. If your game shut down, no matter what happened, mismanagement at the top, or, you know, a dumbass publisher just being trigger happy or whatever, there's always a positive outlook from these Carbine devs that I see, and yeah, it reverberates everywhere, you know, through in-game messages. I've seen them talking to players in chat here. So 1 hour, guys. This is the final hour of Wildstar's existence. Oh my god. So I just typed in chat asking the devs to change the zone music in the background to the music from the character creator for the last hour, because to me that'll be the sweetest goodbye. The character theme, the main Wildstar theme in character creation in the main menu, not the main menu, but the character creation theme, is one of the best MMORPG scores I've ever heard. And that's down to Jeff Kurtenacker, who is the composer for Wildstar. You know, most of the themes in the game is by him, and while you're playing through the game for the first time, you get a sense that, yeah, he's trying to fit his score with the themes of the zone and the races and everything, but the character creator was just brilliant, because it sort of welcomed you into Wildstar not knowing what awaits you. At the same time, there's this amazing hint of excitement and adventure in a sort of like a sci-fi fantasy world, and that theme just captures that essence perfectly. So I hope we hear it for the last hour. I don't know if Because chat's moving so fast, I don't even know if, you know, we'll hear it, so we'll wait and see. Realm broadcast, guys. 30 minutes left. Better start saying goodbyes, I suppose. It's really happening, isn't it? 30 minutes left. And everybody just got serious for a sec. I'm not kidding you. I've been reading chat for the last like 30 minutes and just hearing what everybody has to say and seeing the devs interact with people and yeah, this is a real final feeling to this. And you know, according to some of the Carbine staff in here, a lot of the devs for Wildstar has already moved on to other studios and other games where they're doing well. So in a way, it's nice to hear that, you know, a lot of people that got laid off have got jobs again, and it's always a good thing, I suppose. Now for everybody else, you know, all these players here just talking about new homes and everything, you know, you
Don't be afraid.
play what you want.
I won't hurt you.
That's Jusera in the background. So yeah, with 30 minutes left,
I will be watching over you. Goodbye.
I really got nothing to say. I'm just here now, just experiencing this another MMO shutdown. I've got great memories on Wildstar though. Back on the Oceanic server, my guild was called Conclave, and we were a great bunch. So if there's anybody out there from Conclave, I hope you guys are doing good. What the I just got turned into whatever that was. Sort of a veg. Yeah, decent farewell so far. I mean, there's a really it's a positive vibe, I suppose. I mean, everybody's being optimistic about the future because of the private servers, and there's always that chance that the game will come back for those that really want to play Wildstar. But you know, there's just a sad feeling that, you know, we'll never see how the story progresses. We'll never see how the game progresses. What other systems that, you know, would have been introduced, expansions, how it would have been 10 years from now, you know, where other games out there, and I say this, you know, not lightly, there's a lot of games out there that have been around for so long because of the fact that they had a head start, you know, when in a time where MMOs were the in thing, before online shooters, before battle royale games. Those MMOs started out early and everybody just went there and stuck with it. So there are the games out there that, you know, maybe don't deserve that longevity, but who's to say, right? I can't stand this village music. It's so not appropriate for a send-off. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn off the in-game music, and I'm gonna play my own Wildstar music in the background, which is more fitting. Trust me. Character creation music. There we go. You know, it's a crazy experience, you know, just sitting here and looking at all these players, you know, players that shared a same world with you, share the same server, experienced the same things that you did. Story, class, combat, and in 20 minutes, gone, you know, all of it's gone. It's a surreal thing to sit down and come to the realization that MMOs, as much as we take it for granted that, you know, they will be around forever, it's not the case. They can get shut down. Those things can be taken away from you, and all you're left with are the memories. And if you don't record them with video and pictures, then, you know, you're just left with the memories in your head. It's rather sad when you put it that way, because as a primarily MMO player myself, and I'm an MMO content creator, I love this genre. I love the community that it fosters, the experiences that we have together, even without playing together. I can be a solo player on a world, and I love the feeling that there are others around me that I can choose to interact with. I'm not alone in this world, this adventure. But it's fragile, you know? Something happens game goes. And you know, while it's sad enough experiencing this with Wildstar, I just think of the other MMOs that I played. You know, I can't imagine games like Guild Wars 2 going. Then I'd definitely be without a home, because Guild Wars 2 is home for me. Lord of the Rings Online is home for me. Elder Scrolls Online has become a home. So is World of Warcraft. It's insane. Like I don't even have like a full year. Like I haven't played Wildstar for a year, so I don't really have a deep sense of attachment. But maybe if a game like Lord of the Rings Online, which I've played for close to 10 years now, the day that goes, oh, that will be tears, guaranteed. Not only because of how attached I am to that world, but you know, the friends that you meet that are now like real life friends that you keep in touch with outside of game, to everything that you've accomplished in that sort of time. You know, almost 10 years for me is crazy. I cannot imagine what a lot of those players down there, all these people, must be feeling right now, must be going through. Like, they have definitely spent more time than me in this game and have accomplished more. So in their shoes, I don't even want to think about it, you know. But as with MMOs, we will find new games to call homes, and fondly look back at the ones that, you know, we've had some great times in, like Wildstar. And there's that broadcast message. 15 minutes, guys. How frightening yet exciting. I must say, it's been a pleasure working with you adventurers. Last 2 minutes, guys. Soak it all in. Both exiles and dominions on planet Nexus, in the Wigwali village of all places, to say goodbye to each other for good. At least in terms of saying goodbye to Wildstar. There we go. Realm broadcast from Carbine and NCSoft. We thank you for playing our game. Final broadcast. Anytime now, guys. Ooh. Wonder what's gonna happen. Mass DC. You know, at least it was nice being back here, just to give my own farewell to the game, because I did enjoy the game. I reviewed it 2016, played it a hell lot in launch 2014. No regrets. Probably maybe I should have played more, but it's way beyond that point now in terms of regrets, so I'm happy with the experience I had. Good to be here at the end of Wildstar, sharing this moment with fellow Wildstar players and Carmine devs, and it's always sad to see an MMO go. This one will mean something in years to come, because I liked Wildstar. And there it goes. It's over. Connection has been closed. That's the last picture I see. a naked guy in front of me, and everybody's just stuck in motion, dancing and going out partying. And that is it, guys. The end of Wildstar. It's been a blast, my journey through Wildstar, and playing that music in the background was a bad idea because it's making it really hard to talk because it's a great moment. Thank you, Carbine, for a good game, for keeping it alive as long as you did. With everything that was happening up top, the way you guys conducted yourselves once the announcement hit, and you know, to the player base. Happy searching for more MMOs. I'm sure you guys will find another MMO to play. But thank you everyone that was a part of Wildstar. This was a fun game to play, and private servers whenever they come will be great, I suppose. So let's hope it comes soon. But other than that, hey, you know, the entire purpose of this video, I just wanted to be there and maybe share it with other players that didn't get a chance. So yeah, I will see you guys at the next video. Thanks for watching, and thank you, Wildstar.